This is the Yonex Power Cushion Fusion Rev 4, and for anyone who's playing tennis, pickleball, outdoor basketball, it is almost the perfect slipper tongue shoe. Almost. Let me explain. Hey, what is up? It's Zach, your YouTube foot doctor, and today I have Yonex's brand new release shoe, the Fusion Rev 4. This shoe is really interesting. It kind of runs the gambit of maximalist shoes as well as low to the ground minimalist shoes. It really kind of carves its own path out there on the tennis court, pickleball court, or even outdoor basketball court. Let's get right into it with the uppers. Now, if you couldn't tell already, the uppers of the Fusion Rev 4s are really unique. It is a mostly polyurethane upper, especially here on the medial side. It is a really thick polyurethane. As you go laterally, you do get a little bit more mesh. However, it is still pretty much a poly composite. Now, this is going to give you a really nice molded fit over the top of your foot, and you are going to feel really kind of like a glove-like sensation in this shoe. However, they are going to heat up a little bit more than some other shoes out there because of that thick polyurethane. On the court, man, temperature was only in the 50s Fahrenheit air temperature, and on-court temperature really wasn't much different. And these shoes still heated up pretty good during the infrared test, only after 45 minutes. So you are going to sacrifice a little bit of heat exchange for that really nice molded fit in the uppers. But even more interesting than the polyurethane is the lace line. It's another shoe that diverges laterally on the lace line, which does give you a lot of security in the forefoot, just like the Nike Vapor Pros that were just released. And the laces actually go into two layers of the shoe. So you're actually tying the outermost layer and the middle layer of the shoe. So it does give you a really solid tie down for a shoe that still is a slipper tongue. And although I do like how padded the slipper tongue is here on the Fusion Rev 4s, and it does have a molded ankle collar, it still just is a little bit more of a wide mouth opening here in the ankle. And here on the suicide test, you can see the downside of the ankle collar. Typically on turns, be able to slide into them, grip, and then go the other direction. Whereas on the Fusion Rev 4s, the rubber grips so well, but the ankle collar is a little floppy. So I'm having to measure those turns a little bit more, and therefore my time was a little slower than I wanted it to be. Now, in the upper durability tests with the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, I actually did two of them. The one on the polyurethane component, only 1 millimeter of damage, and it is a pretty thick polyurethane component, so you are going to get really good durability there on the toe cap and in the upper. However, as you can see right here, right along the medial side where you're going to toe drag or slide, this is just foam right here, and that actually got almost 2 millimeters of damage. The Dremel really bit through that pretty quickly, so if you are a dragger on the medial side, just know you might burn through this little layer of foam pretty quick versus all the poly as well as the rubber on the bottom. Textured insole is always a nice touch. And on the Midsole Teardown, you can see 2.4 centimeter heel height, 1.1 centimeter heel to toe drop, and the power cushion foam in the heel as well as forefoot. But if you look closely at the shank, Yonex does advertise that is power carbon, so a carbon fiber shank. However, most of it does look like it's polypropylene with just a very, very thin layer of carbon fiber on top of it. So I think most of the stability of that shank probably comes from the polypropylene as well as that massive stack of foam underneath of the shank, which you can actually see on the outsole. Now, the outsoles on the Fusion Rev 4s have pretty much the same pattern as the Eclipsean line from Yonex, which I really like. You get that really dense, flat herringbone, almost racing skid on the medial side for hard courts, and then on the lateral side, you get that really choppy, modified herringbone, that arrow construction, which really does dig into a hard court or even clay, and even if that clay is really dry and not well maintained, these shoes will still grip. So this is going to be a true all-court tread, just like the Eclipsean 3s. And on the outsole durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, really not even a millimeter of damage on that outsole tread. So these are going to have an outsole durability profile just as good as any other durability focused shoe in the market right now. Now, the fit of the Fusion Rev 4s, a little bit different than the Eclipsean 3s. They are a lot more generous in the forefoot. They do have those tabs that come up over the midfoot, so if you do have a really wide midfoot, these might be a little cramped on you. However, my 2E width foot with my standard size actually has had no breaking on these, a lot different than the Eclipseans. If you have a wider ankle or wider heel, you're gonna slip into them really nice and get a nice snug fit. But if you have a narrow heel, I really would avoid these because with the slipper tongue and those tabs, it does leave your heel and ankle a little room to kind of wiggle around. Now, once I really tied them down and cinched them down, they've been a lot better. But just remember, you're gonna have to tie them a little tighter than some of your other shoes. Whoever the rubber engineer is at Yonex deserves a raise. These shoes, the Fusion Rev 4s as well as the Eclipsean 3s, have some of the best grip of any shoe on the market right now. You just cannot get a better grip and grit into the court than you can with the Yonex outsole rubber. You know, if I had to describe the Fusion Rev 4s in one word, it would be barefoot. It really does feel like you're playing right on the ground, right on the court, but with a little bit more of the protection and a little more comfort from the Yonex Power Cushion foam in there. So I really love just the way they feel, the way they make you feel like you're just prowling the court right on your bare feet. You know, for a shoe that's 14.6 ounces, really low to the ground, slipper tongue, and a shank that's just a really thin piece of carbon fiber and mostly just foam, these shoes have a surprisingly good amount of push off to them. Now we'll see how that lasts over the lifetime of the shoe if that starts breaking down, but right now, out of the box, these shoes are playing really low to the ground, really plush and comfortable, but also with a really nice springboard, a really nice push off effect on them. If you're someone that likes to stalk the baseline, hit a lot of half volleys, kind of like an Andre Agassi type game style, you're really gonna like these shoes. They have such a good grip and you feel really low to the ground and you're able to get low to the ground on a lot of these shots. However, if you're someone that's running post to post all the time and trying to slide on a hard court, these shoes might not be the best pickup for you because the rubber is so gripping on the court and has such a good grip. You may end up overextending, or I should say hyperextending your knee, or doing something like spraining your ankle or rolling it just because the ankle collar isn't as secure as some other shoes, so watch out for that. And also along the same vein as half volleying from the baseline, these are tremendous serve and volleying shoes because once you're up at the net and you've split step, it's really easy to get down low for balls and make quick reaction with these shoes. So for serve and volleyers or doubles players, these are also a great option. Now that I've had a little bit of time to digest the Fusion Rev 4s, I really think they fit a few very specific groups of people. Number one, outdoor basketball players that are looking for a low to the ground shoe, but with a lot of upper durability and protection for their toes and just the rest of their foot in general. Number two, tennis players that want a lot of grip on a shoe and to be able to really feel confident pushing off. These are not for hard court sliders. Now on clay, these will slide fine, but on hard court, don't even try it. And the third is pickleball players. When you're lunging down low to try to get a really low ball, or when you're just trying to stalk around the baseline and really not give up your court position, these are going to be really good to give you that grip as well as that low to the ground feeling and the grip coming back up from lunging down and getting really low that you'll really need because you don't want the shoe slipping out from underneath of you, and for that, these shoes really do fit the bill. And just for a comparison, the Fusion Rev 4s play really similar to the Vapor Pro. Just like I said, a little bit more of a plush feeling ride. You're just not going to get the nimbleness of the Vapor Pro, but if you're someone that likes that line of shoes or the previous Nike Vapor 10, but you just want a shoe that's not going to bottom out in the forefoot as fast, or just a shoe with a little bit more cushion underneath of it, these actually are a really good option if you like the slipper tongue. And in my opinion, the Eclipsean 3 is still a little bit of a better shoe than the Fusion Rev 4, has a better durability profile on the medial side with all that rubber that's coming up over there, so if you're a toe dragger, you're not going to burn through them as fast. They tie down a little bit better, they're just a little bit more of a rugged, aggressive shoe. I just feel a little more secure in them. Now the Fusion Rev 4s do give you a little bit more of a low to the ground feeling. They're just a little bit more tactile than the Eclipsean 3s, and they accommodated my foot a little bit easier than the Eclipsean 3s. If you remember from that playtest all the way back when in last summer, I really had a hard time breaking in the Eclipsean 3s, whereas the Fusion Rev 4s, I was able to break in a lot faster. And for those of you asking what bags I have in the comments section, these are Geau sport bags. This isn't sponsored, however, they did send me these just to try out. They are really innovative bags. They have some interesting characteristics to them, so if you want to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description. But of course, I'd love to know your thoughts on the Fusion Rev 4. Are you looking forward to trying it? Is it a pass for you? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see how this shoe stacks up against the rest of the brand new shoes of 2021, make sure you click into the playlist up above and subscribe down below. I'll see you in the next video.